let's see. How do you do this again? Headphones on or headphones off? Usually whenever I don't wear my headphones on stream, people ask if I got a haircut. So I guess I guess I'll leave them on. So I know that once upon a time, I did a Q&A video where I basically asked people to ask questions and then I answered them. And I think in that video, I said I wanted to make that like a monthly thing. At this point, I don't even remember the last time I did one of these. But anyways, I went to the YouTube community tab and I asked you guys if you have any questions for me. And it turns out there's 247 of them. So let's have a look. So Matthew asks, I know this has been asked a lot before, but if you wanted another game to come out, would it be StarCraft 3 or would it be a Warcraft 4? All right. So right from the get-go, I've got myself a little bit of coffee, by the way. But right from the get-go, we're jumping into the deep end of the pool, huh? All right, so here's the thing. Either a StarCraft 3 or a Warcraft 4 would have to be made by Blizzard. Now, a company alone is not enough, right? You need people inside of said company to be able to produce a game. Pretty much all the people that I know that worked, actually pretty much everyone that I know that worked at Blizzard no longer works there. I think I was familiar with most of the people that worked on the StarCraft team, or at least a whole lot of them. And none of them work at Blizzard, as far as I know. Maybe one or two, but that's really about it. The thing is, RTS is by no means the most popular genre out there, and there aren't really that many people, when you think about it, that have like a lot of experience building great real-time strategy games. And if none of them work at Blizzard anymore at this point, I mean, I would love to see either a StarCraft 3 or a Warcraft 4, but at this point, I'm not entirely sure if Blizzard is gonna be a company that can actually make another great RTS game. Obviously, this year has been also very eventful for Blizzard. I don't really want to go into that rabbit hole, but let's just say that at this point, I'm not entirely convinced that they're gonna be able to make another RTS game, even if they would determine that it is financially a smart thing to do, which probably is also not the case. That said, to switch to something a little bit more positive, most of the people that probably made your favorite real-time strategy game, they have moved on over to a company called Frost Giant, or at least a lot of them have. A lot of the original StarCraft team, but also Command & Conquer and, you know, Warcraft and a bunch of other games. They're now working at Frost Giant, who are making a real-time strategy game. Let me put it like this. I think that the guys over at Frost Giant are far more likely to produce a spiritual successor to either a StarCraft or a Warcraft game. And at this point, I'm not convinced that Blizzard will ever make one of those, even if it's financially feasible, because you don't have the people, right? There's only so many people that have experience making RTS games. You can obviously hire new people, but it's not the same thing. Ninja asks, as well as like 17 other people, why have you stopped uploading and casting viewer games? I love the pain and weirdness of it all. I do want to bring them back. Yes, this is one of the things I do want to be working on going forward. I think I kind of set the bar for myself a little bit too high for how bad those games have to be before I cast them, if that makes any sense. So I try and think back of like the previous viewer submitted games that I've uploaded to the channel. And I'm like, okay, this guy went for a double planetary fortress rush inside of the opponent's main base. I need to find something that tops that. So I cast games and games and games and nothing really, you know, gets better than something along those lines. But yeah, I will be uploading more of those. If you have a crazy game of StarCraft that you would like me to cast, submit it please to replays@LowkoTV. Now some people send over their entire replays folder. No. Kuro asks a couple of questions. First off, are you going to switch from StarCraft anytime soon? Or are you gonna still make content for it until it completely dies out? First off, is StarCraft ever gonna truly, like, die out? I don't think so. I mean, StarCraft 1 has been around for a very long time. And it still is doing very well. As a matter of fact, in 2021 and 2020, it seems to be doing better than it pretty much ever has. So, anyways, I don't know exactly. I don't really follow StarCraft 1 super closely. So, is StarCraft going to die out anytime soon at some point? I don't think so. No, I do think there's like a core audience that loves strategy games, and that includes myself. I'm a massive fan of StarCraft. Just really love casting, and, well, I mean, right now I'm not playing so much, but usually I also enjoy playing the game quite a bit too. Am I going to switch from StarCraft anytime soon? Honestly, as long as you guys are interested in watching StarCraft content, I want to keep making it as well. Obviously, this is kind of what I do for a living at this point, right? I've been making, you know, video content for several years full time right now. Actually, I think it's been like 5 years or something at this point. I don't even know. It's been a good amount of time. And as long as people are interested, I prefer covering my favorite game, right? Which at this point is StarCraft 2. If I look at my YouTube analytics real quick, so I don't mean this as like a flex, but just to like give you like an indication. This year in 2021, let me see. In 2021, I got 43 million views. Is that correct? Yeah, I think that's correct. So compared to 2020, in 2020, we had 46 million views. Meaning that there were obviously slightly less views, but to me, that's a ton of, like, that's a number I can't even really imagine. So, as long as there's people interested, man, I am not going to be switching from StarCraft anytime soon. No. I love casting the game, and even if I'm currently in a bit of a lull when it comes to playing it, because I'm kind of at that MMR point where one little mistake can cost you the game, and then I get killed by Void Race. It's just not as much fun for me to play currently, but I absolutely love casting, so I'm not going to stop doing it anytime soon. He also asks, are you going to cast AoE 4 in the future? I would actually really like to get into other RTS games and cast them too. Here's the thing with AoE 4 though, in particular. Even though it's a real-time strategy game released like literally 2 months ago, I think it was right around my birthday, so about 2 months ago. Am I gonna cast AoE 4 in the future? I mean, I would like to. The problem is that the interface in that game is absolutely awful for casting. So the replay system in that game is essentially non-existent as well. So the only way you can cast games is if people have their match history public, because there's not like, you know, like in StarCraft 2, you can share like a .sc2 replay file. That's not a thing for Age of Empires 4. So I can only cast games if people have their match history public in the first place, which is a little bit shaky, and it's going to be hard to like compile the best games. But also like currently the caster UI, or like the interface to watch replays with, it's far worse than StarCraft 2 on release. So maybe, but at this point, I don't think I really want to be casting a whole lot of AoE 4. Kira also asks, do you know anything or have you heard anything about the Frost Giant game? Maybe. And then he also asks, how are you? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing quite all right. Thank you very much. QWERTY Dvorak asks, do you think top-level players competing seriously as random like Flash did can happen in StarCraft 2 too? It's a complexly worded question. Can someone be successful as a random player in StarCraft 2? So my gut instinct is no. The thing is, if you're playing random, you gotta practice all matchups, right? So there's 9 matchups you gotta be good at, whereas if you focus only on one, race, you can focus on only 3, right? In theory, if you imagine all players playing full-time, or maybe even a little bit more than that, it should be easier to focus on one race alone. That being said, there are advantages, obviously, to playing random. For example, specifically when you go up against Protoss, it's pretty bad. So if you're Protoss and you go up against a random player, it's kind of tough because the positioning of your first pylon already, right, is determined by what your opponent is playing. So if it's a Zerg player, you want to go for a low ground pylon. If it's like a Terran player, you might want to try and block the Reaper path. If it's Protoss versus Protoss, you want to try and block the main ramp, right? Now, there are obviously approaches you can take, but personally, I don't really like seeing a random go up against Protoss all too much because it kind of becomes rock, paper, scissors, which is not really what I think StarCraft is that good at. That being said, could someone compete playing random at the professional level? So for those of you unfamiliar, he makes the comparison to Flash. Flash is probably the best StarCraft 1 player ever, so probably the best RTS player of all time. He at some point had won basically everything playing Terran, so he decided to switch to random some time ago before he went to the military. And he was pretty successful playing random as well, doing, very impressive things. If there's one player that I think could probably pull that off, it is Maru. So there's this website called SC2 Revealed that allows you to look up different pro players and what their current MMR is, even if they're playing under a different nickname. Maru's Protoss is currently sitting at 6.2k MMR. Okay. His Terran, for comparison, is sitting at over 7k. I know that at some point he was sitting at I want to say 6.7, 6.6 with his Protoss. So, I mean, obviously that only counts as Protoss and not his Zerg, but maybe Maru could pull something like that off. I know that Cyril is a very strong Terran player as well. I know that Clem is very good with Protoss. I know that Raynor is also capable of playing Protoss. So there's definitely potential there, but why? Like, why would you do it? I don't think you really want to be playing as random at the competitive level. Like, you just make it so much harder for yourself, and the advantage you gain is, other than notoriety, not worth it, I don't think. Luke says, I recently learned a second language, and I realized how hard simple phrases and sayings are. Then I listened to your videos, and I realized, oh, how good your English is. Oh, okay. I didn't realize that this was going to be a question complimenting me. How did you learn and improve English? If you go back to my first videos, Luke, you will cringe. Maybe not as hard as I will cringe, but you'll recognize that my English definitely wasn't very good back then. In the Netherlands, we do speak a lot of English. Like, as a kid, you are taught English pretty early on. Actually, these days, you like learn how to count in English at the same time as you learn how to count in Dutch in schools. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. But I don't know, man. Just practice. MB asks, what were your life and business goals for 2021? What approach do you have to setting them, measuring progress, and what metrics have you used? How did you do, and what are your goals for 2022? All right. That's a whole lot. I am a big fan of goal setting. I've been setting goals for many, many years. And I tend to do a crazy thing and even stick with it as well. I don't know, that was kind of wild. No, I do try and actually stick to the goals. I don't just, like, you know, make a list of them on January 1st that are, like, completely unrealistic and then stick to them for, like, 2 weeks. And then slowly, as time goes by and January 1st approaches again, I will, like, set a new list of goals. I will usually actually read the list of goals I've made every day. Like, this is something I've been doing for a long time. I will make a list of goals and then I read and reread them every single day. I also try and set goals that are measurable and also, like, time frame oriented, meaning that, like, I try to make sure that there's, like, a certain deadline to it, or at the very least that I'm, you know, able to, like, calculate or measure where I'm currently at. Usually I like to set goals, and this is actually something I am changing a little bit this year. Usually I do like to set goals, for example, for, like, financial goals, but also for the amount of videos that I produce, for the amount of time that I spend on Twitch and how much I live stream and that sort of thing, right? That being said, I am easing on that a little bit this year, this upcoming year, because I think over the last couple of years in particular, I've been overdoing it a little bit too much. Either I'm getting old, which is definitely an option, or I've just been spending a little bit too much time at the computer in general. So generally speaking, right, so my current setup, so I see a lot of people asking as well what my schedule is like. Generally speaking, what I do is I try and do, like, some sort of exercise in the morning. Then I usually make a video and then I stream. And I do this for about 6 days a week. So I spent probably on average over the last, like, 3, 4, 5 years or so, on average, I think I probably spend about 35 to 40 hours a week on Twitch. And then I also have my YouTube channels. Probably a good idea to do something absolutely radical, right? And this is a change I'm going to be making in 2022, and one that I've already been making over the last month or two, is I'm going to be taking 2 days a week away from, you know, at least going live on Twitch and, you know, going hardcore on the YouTube video production. So I've been doing it 6 days a week for probably the last 5 years or so. Probably more, actually. Probably longer than that. And I think it's probably a little bit too much. There's also, like, other things I want to do. Like, for example, one thing I used to do a lot when I was younger, I used to write a lot, I used to paint a lot, I used to, like, do all kinds of other stuff. And I've kind of just not done any of that for a very long time. So I am, one of my main goals for 2022 is to, at the very least, ease on that a little bit and spend a bit more time doing other things as well. That being said, as far as other goals go, I will continue making videos going forward. I will continue streaming, but 5 days a week on Twitch going forward as well. Current plan is to do Monday, Tuesday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So 2 to 8 p.m. Central European time. So I'm basically taking, Sundays and Wednesdays off. So I'm trying out this thing called Weekend Wednesday. If you've seen the CGP Grey video on it, you probably know what I'm talking about. But I'm going to try and give that a shot over the next couple of months. And then I'll reconsider. So that's usually how I do things. It's a lot of trial and error. And I try and, keep track of where I'm currently at. Anyways, I'm going to go to the next question because I could talk about this for like an hour. Would you ever consider doing an off-race tournament for the pros? I think that would be a great way to showcase, as Raynor said. We all suck at the game compared to the pros. That is something that Raynor said, yeah. I don't know exactly if it's going to be easy to do like a full tournament, but I could definitely organize show matches. Because then I'd just have to reach out to 2 people that could actually, you know, do that rather than like 16 or maybe even, I don't know, 8 or 32 or whatever. I think it would be much easier to reach out to 2 pro players. It would be kind of funny to see, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. It would kind of be fun to see the pro players switch, right? But I'd have to find, like, say it's normally a Terran versus Zerg. It's now going to be a Zerg versus Terran. I would have to find a couple of pros that are interested in that. But I can definitely give that a shot. Yes, I do want to start organizing more matches like that. Lowko, my question is obvious, asks Brew. How long until you get a 3rd cat? Let me see if they're over here, okay? Look who I found hiding outside my door. He's a little sleepy, though. I wonder if he wants to chill in my lap while I'm recording this video. That's a no. Maybe? I don't know. That's my headphone cable, bro. Anyways, this is Toby. He's about half a year old at this point, about 6 months. Can you look at the camera, bro? Hey, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Will I be getting a 3rd cat? Please don't bite my headphone cable. I kind of need those. Will I be getting a 3rd cat? No. No. 2 cats is plenty, man. You can kind of see him. Yeah, there you go. He's a very sweet kitten, though. Luckily, these days, Milo, the cat we already had, and Toby also get along pretty well. Although, they don't really spend a whole lot of time chilling with each other. But they do play a lot, so at least they're improving as far as that goes. Buddy, what are you doing right now? Oh, okay, you're licking my hand. All right, that's much better. Okay, he doesn't want to leave my headphone cable alone. I'm going to put him back. Slightly Taco. He asks, which games are you looking forward to the most in 2022? So as you probably are aware at this point, I've been playing a ton of variety games over the last couple of years. For probably about 5-6 years, I was only playing StarCraft 2, and then I realized, wait a second, I've actually missed out on some absolute bangers. Like, I think I started with a little bit of Bloodborne, which was really, really fun, and then I also played The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. So I do play a ton of variety games. Check out the 2nd channel, so that's youtube.com/morelowko, in case you're interested. Link is also down below. But anyways, which games am I looking forward to the most in 2022? I guess the ones that pop in my head right away, and there's probably going to be more that I'm forgetting on right now, but the one that I'm looking forward to the most, at least that is coming out pretty soon, is the new From Software game. For some reason, I'm drawing a blank right here on the name. Oh, Elden Ring. Elden Ring, of course. Big fan of the From Software games that are developers behind, for example, Bloodborne, but also Dark Souls and Sekiro and whatnot. Really looking forward to that. I also think that God of War Ragnarok is going to be a bit of a banger. There's going to be the new Horizon game. That should be a fun one. So there's a couple of games coming out in the next couple of months that I will definitely, check out. When will you finally buy a dog? I would like to at some point, but not really something I'm going to do anytime soon. Are you going on a vacation in 2022? Nothing is planned at this point. Currently, the Netherlands actually is in lockdown once again, so... so I would like to, but at this point, I've got nothing planned. But I'll probably take a little bit more time away from the keyboard. Yeah. Lowko, this is a bit of a weird one. Asks Shanse. I have heard you talk about inner ear troubles. I've also been chasing ear problems for several years. I have similar symptoms to the things you've mentioned, and I've been wanting to ask exactly what it is you go through to be able to diagnose it. I just went to an ENT specialist. Yeah, I've had ear troubles most of my life. These days, it's not really something that is... I know there's going to be at least one person saying, like, oh my god, Lowko, it's because of the headphones. It's not, okay? It's not. Anyways, I highly recommend you go and see a specialist for it. I don't know too much about it either. I mean, I know about the problems that I've had with my ears, but... yeah, probably going to a specialist is a good idea. Lowko, what is your biggest achievement you reached during your YouTube and Twitch career? Actually, a couple of days ago, once again, the first thing that pops into my mind. This YouTube channel right here, it actually passed 250 million total views. That's such a ridiculously big number. Thank you for watching, seriously. But that's a 250 million views. I don't know, man. That's insane. Never set out for that at the very least when I uploaded my very first RuneScape video way back in the day. I don't know if anyone remembers. The Mithril Dragon Guide? Does anyone remember that? That's a long time ago. That video is not even up on the channel anymore. So Mikko asks, what methods of separating your work from your personal life are you using? Do you follow a strict schedule on a daily basis? Yes. I do follow a pretty strict schedule. I know a lot of people think it's boring, but personally, I don't really get anything done unless it's pretty, strictly scheduled. So I follow a pretty similar approach most of the time. So usually I wake up, spend a little bit of time doing like some sort of morning routine, which has changed a lot over the years. But anyways, then I usually do some exercise, make the video, and then I, sometimes have to manage like the second channel and some Instagram posts and Twitter and whatnot. And I usually do the stream. And then I have like a couple of hours of off time, and then I do it all over again the next day. As far as separating things go, I have found, and this is obviously a luxury, but when I first moved in here, I first got my like dedicated space for making content. I found that to be extremely useful. So this is like the room that I like make content in. And when I leave the room, I know it's literally like just a room in my home, but it does definitely make a difference. So if you can dedicate a certain space to where you work, or like work, because it doesn't really feel like work to me, and where you don't, I think that's very helpful. I'm noticing a lot of horror scenarios in the questions. So someone's asking, what would you do if making StarCraft casts was no longer possible? For example, the server shutdown or something like that. It's a lot of doom scenarios, guys. Are we all a little bit, is this like the time in between Christmas and New Year's? Are we all a little bit... Anyways, would you play games like you do right now on Twitch, or transition to a new game? If I wouldn't be able to make StarCraft content, which I would be very sad about if I couldn't, but I would definitely transition towards another game. Would it be Age of Empires? Maybe, but I think AoE 4 has a ton of potential. That being said, it's got a good starting point, but it's got so many features lacking. I mean, there's not a ranked ladder right now. The interface system, like I said, is pretty horrible. The UI is not that great. Unit responsiveness is kind of bad. And, it's got a good starting point. It's got a lot of potential to be good in like 3 years from now. Maybe a year from now if they continue working on it quicker than that. I don't think right now you really want to transition from StarCraft 2 to AoE 4. StarCraft 2 is so much better. Like, after I played AoE 4 for like a month straight, I went back to playing StarCraft 2, and this is something that Blizzard does really well in all of their games. Just the responsiveness of like clicking a unit and then telling it to go somewhere. It's really clean. And AoE 4 doesn't, have some of those basics right, in my personal opinion anyways. What will you do, asks C, if StarCraft 2 or RTS games in general get super unpopular or flat out die? That's what I mean with dramatic questions. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think there's always going to be a group of people that are probably watching this right now that are definitely still interested in RTS games going forward as well. Like, what you got to keep in mind, right, is that the majority of the people that watch StarCraft at this point, or that play StarCraft, we're like the boomers of the video game industry, right? We're like the old people. A lot of people that are watching StarCraft at this point have been watching and playing StarCraft for literally decades. They've been doing this for a very, very, very long time. I don't think that's gonna change. And I mean, it kind of sounds to me like, what would you do if like football all of a sudden wouldn't be a sport anymore? Would you transition towards basketball? It's like, I don't really see it happening. You know what I mean? Maybe not the best comparison or analogy, but maybe if at some point that happens, I'd have to switch to something else, but I don't really think about that too much. Mikolash asks, will you do more videos on different games? I would love to see you try Company of Heroes 2 or any other RTS. I play pretty much anything. So if you are unfamiliar, I upload my completed playthroughs of games that I've streamed on Twitch to youtube.com/morelowko. So link is down below again in the description. Go check it out. There's like loads and loads of games over there. I haven't played Company of Heroes 2 just yet. I basically keep a list of games on my phone that people have recommended, and that is one of the games that I've been recommended many times, and I will check it out at some point. But the problem is the list of games is growing faster than I can play and complete games, even though I play a lot. Watermelon asks, which books have you read recently? So I read and listen to like a bunch of different books all at once. I know a lot of people don't like doing that, but I personally I don't know. I like listening and choosing whatever I wanna listen or read from day to day. So it changes quite a bit. But anyways, recently I have been listening to the third book of the Skyward series. So I'm a big fan of Brandon Sanderson's work. I've read pretty much all of it, including Mistborn and Stormlight Archive and stuff. The Stormlight Archive in particular, like those are really thick books. Took a long time to get through, but I'm waiting for the fifth one. That should be a lot of fun. I've also reread the Kingkiller Chronicles recently from Patrick Rothfuss. But with that particular series, I mean, it's kind of turning into the whole George R.R. Martin situation again from like, you know, A Song of Ice and Fire. Where the third book is just not out, and it's been a long time. I know there's been a lot of rumor recently, but I'll believe it when it's actually here and I can read it. I'm also reading Joe Abercrombie's The First Law. So that is a book series that I've picked up, I think, about a month ago. I'm currently on the second book, which, yeah, it's very dark fantasy. I think the book is called Before They Are Hanged, or something along those lines. It's another series of books. Very good so far, but definitely some dark fantasy there. So if you're into it, yeah, do recommend. And as far as like self-development books go, I have recently read Atomic Habits by James Clear, and then also the Wim Hof Method. Although the Wim Hof Method, I mean, it's a lot of breathing exercises as well as like cold showers. I've already given up on both of them. I was taking cold showers for a few weeks, and then I realized, you know what? No, I didn't. You know, I haven't since. How would you change the Ultralisk to make them more viable to use? I think Ultras are pretty helpful already in StarCraft 2, but they can be kind of dumb. I've been saying this for several years now, but I think there's two things you could do. Either you can make the Ultra be able to walk over Zerglings and Banelings. I think that would be okay, but maybe a little bit too strong. Or you can just kind of scale the unit down. Like, say the unit is like 80% of its current size. It's not going to get stuck on things nearly as easily, because when it actually gets into the battle, it's pretty good. It just spends like most of its life, like probably like 90% of its HP, trying to get somewhere, and it usually doesn't even get there. I'm curious, asks Jaded Gamer, what your current MMR is with Zerg, and also with your off races. Do you prefer Terran or TOS? My peak all-time MMR was 5.5k. That being said, I think right now it's probably like I've been saying, I haven't played too much recently. I've been a little bit tired of the meta, and I've been, you know, getting my RTS fix from playing Age of Empires 4. Even though I do think it's objectively a worse game than StarCraft. It's just been fun because it's new. I think my MMR right now is probably like 5k, 5.1k or so. And if I grind for a few weeks, I could probably get back up to like 5.3. Maybe 5.2. I'm not exactly sure. As far as off races go, I managed to make Master 1 and Master 1 with both Terran and Protoss in the past. Definitely feel far more comfortable, though, playing Protoss. For some reason, like, the Terran production cycle never really worked very well for me. Loko, why don't you do the true intro anymore? The, hello, everyone, my name is... That one? I do it from time to time. The main reason why I stopped doing it some time ago, or I stopped doing it every single cast, is because I thought it was a bit cringe. Like, the thing is, right? Imagine we're like 10 years into the future and I listen back to some of my current StarCraft casts. I feel like that's the one thing that I'm gonna like cringe about the most. So, I don't know. I've been mixing it up a little bit. I think it's fine. Loko, why is the concave the best geometrical shape? It's a StarCraft joke. Actually, I think probably the most OP geometrical shape is probably a hexagon. Yeah, hexagons are kind of OP. Loko, how's your new door for your house? I love how a lot of people remember small little bits that I've mentioned in previous videos like 3 years ago, and every once in a while it's brought up. When I first moved in here, part of the door, like our front door, I mean just the decoration part, like the decorative part, was starting to peel off, and it looked really ugly. We needed to get a new door back then, and I was like, okay, young and innocent, right? We had just moved in here. A front door, how much can it cost? If you have no idea, just be prepared to be shocked at how much a front door costs. Anyways, it's doing well. Have you ever eaten a butterfly? What? No, I haven't, Felix. Rakesh asks, why did you choose Ryzen over Intel in your current PC build? So, by the way, if you're unfamiliar, there's, again, a link down below in the description of this video as well. I posted in every single description video with my current setup. I went with a Ryzen, what is it? 5900X? Oh god. So LowkoTV/setup. Every once in a while, whenever people ask, I go to my own website. I am not really, like, I know a lot of people get very protective about different kinds of hardware. So they're like either Team AMD or Team Intel or like Team NVIDIA. I don't really care about such rivalries. I just try and go for whatever is most efficient for my budget. And this time around, it turned out to be Ryzen. Last time around, it turned out to be Intel. We'll see what it's going to be next time. There's a couple of people asking about wrist issues and voice issues, which is very considerate. Thank you, guys. Do I have any wrist issues? I do not. No. I found that exercise helps out a lot. And obviously, you know, trying to not sit like a complete, you know, degenerate at the computer, that also helps. So immediately I find myself sitting up a little bit straighter and try to make sure that I use the armrests on my chair and stuff. So that helps as far as the wrist goes. Voice issues, also not really the case. Every once in a while, I do get like a sore throat, but I'm pretty sure that's something, well, I haven't had any in a long time right now, which I guess is an advantage of not really going outside all too much. Also, though, I think back in the day, I used to shout into the microphones a little bit too much, and I didn't really do a very good job controlling my voice. Try and be better at that these days, and haven't really had any problems for a while. Hope I can keep it that way. How do you control your cat's hair? I brush them once a week. I also brush their teeth. Which apparently blew a lot of people's minds. It's a process. What is your dream 3-watch collection? Ooh. Are we going to talk about watches? Are we going to go down this rabbit hole? I am a bit of a fan of wristwatches. I don't know. No, I can't. I don't have a list right now in my head. Maybe one day I'll answer your question, Mr. Brett, but that's an excellent question. Yes. I do spend a little bit too much time looking and, you know, reading about watches. Not necessarily expensive ones, but I just kind of find it fascinating. Lowko, have you ever played League of Legends? I did play League many, many years ago, and then I realized I'm not a very good team player. Like, I wasn't being toxic to my teammates, because I know there's a lot of people that are being toxic to their teammates, but I did find myself having a hard time dealing with those people that just don't really want to win, you know? Like, I'm sitting there as a full tryhard and I really want to obtain the victory, and then you have the one guy who's like, come on, guys, just chill. We're just having some... Oh, God, I can't... You know, having people in your team that only play the game for fun, that's insane. No, I tend to get very competitive, so I find that personally, at least, I have more enjoyment playing, for example, a real-time strategy game, because the reason I win or lose is because of me, and I don't have to deal with any other people. I don't really make for a very good teammate. But I have played League in the past, and I do think it's a lot of fun, especially if you have like a group of people to play with. Solo queuing a MOBA, no, it's not for me. Why are you from the Netherlands? All right, I've reached the bottom of the questions, guys. Why am I from the Netherlands? I don't know, dude. One day I existed, and it happened to be in a country called the Netherlands. Anyways, I've scrolled all the way through every single one of them. I think I answered the majority of the ones, other than like, which one is your favorite dinosaur? Which I feel like is obvious. And is StarCraft 2 dead? There's a lot of people asking if StarCraft 2 is dead. I think I've answered pretty much all of them. What's your favorite fruit beverage? I think I've answered at least the majority of them. Anyways, I know that the majority of you are going to be watching this video in the new year. So happy new year. I hope that 2022 is going to be awesome for you. And I hope that the world in general will be a little bit better going forward as well. Hey, but thank you very much for watching my content. And I hope to see you once again in the next one.